How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I have been making YouTube videos for well over a year at this point, and just this moment found out that I can just hit spacebar and that'll start recording and stop recording. So we'll never miss the button again, and I'm trash. Oh my god, that hurts. Okay, anyways, real quick. Today's video is not going to be the depressing Genshin video that we alluded to yesterday. I'm going to sit on that one for a couple of days just to give you guys the real quick skinny on that. Essentially, what it's looking like is we're not going to see Chasm until potentially 1.6, and that we're going to have some pretty empty patches. We're going to have some events over the next two, and I just want to wait for a little bit more information to come out, and then we'll talk about it. So instead of doing something depressing today, I found out some news recently, news that surprised even your boy, which actually isn't that surprising, because even though as hard as I try to keep up with new mobile games, there's thousands of them. It's so easy to miss. It's a problem. But one of my all-time favorite games in the mobile genre is Summoners War. That's what really got me playing a lot of mobile games and taking it more seriously as a legitimate gaming avenue. There were some good mobile games before that, but your boy wasn't invested yet. You know what I mean? I had some respect for a few things, but we weren't in it yet. You know what I mean? And that was the game that brought me in. They have two games that are supposed to be coming out this year, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. Okay, so we've got Summoners War, Centuria. All right, and we're going to take a look at some stuff for that. This is almost Summoners War 2 from, and you'll see when we actually look at the gameplay, they've made some interesting looking changes to how their combat works, and it definitely looks like they've modernized just a lot of the things in the game in general. It also seems very different from just our normal turn-based combat that we're used to with Summoners War. And we'll see a little bit more of that when we actually get to the gameplay, because they've put out not only a cinematic trailer over the last couple of months for this, but they've put out gameplay footage as well. And that's not the only Summoners War game, okay? Okay? They're also making Summoners War Chronicle, which is going to be an MMORPG. Now, Centuria has a relatively hard release date of April 29th this year. This is coming from a Business Korea investment group, and that's a pretty safe place to assume they're not operating off of leaks. They got the information. And the entirety of the article, and I'm not going to show you guys because it's literally like a paragraph saying like, oh yeah, it's coming out this is some of the stuff in it. And then it just starts detailing all of this financial information and investment information and their expectations and some of the investment history of Com2uS. I don't think we're all trying to get knee-deep in accounting numbers right now, but that's where that date is coming from. So, I mean, people don't play around with money. Not investment level money. No. So that one, we have a relatively hard date for. Around November, October of last year, they did closed beta of Centuria, and they stated they wanted to release it February of 2021. Obviously, we're in March now, and the game didn't come out, so we've seen that they've pushed it back. Reason I want to kind of mention that and put it in your minds is because the other game, Chronicle, the MMORPG, has a vague release date of June 2021. So that one we're gonna just take with a little bit of pinch of salt and then dump the whole bucket in there. I don't really think that we might see it June 21, but I don't think we've seen enough of the typical like closed betas and hype and press for the game, and we just haven't seen enough to really believe that they're at the cusp of dropping this in just a few short months. So, you know, keep that in mind as we're going through stuff. But let's go ahead and take a look at the Lost Centuria cinematic trailer, and then we'll actually go through and look at the actual gameplay and everything. And just know, your boy's heart's beating a little bit. I haven't actually watched this myself yet. Excuse me. Not the king! I don't know who the king is. Honestly, I never paid attention to the lore in that game. There's a pattern there. There's a pattern there. Okay. Okay. You look like the hairier, evil Aladdin villain. Like, you definitely a cousin of that man. Alright. Alright, starting to recognize a few things here. Ooh. Alright, I'm not supposed to know who this man is, am I? Okay, okay. How you doing, Lapis? Oh, it's so pretty. I almost wish these people made an anime at some point. Like, that would just be completely hype. But remember... Ooh. Ooh. Remember, kids. These are meant to be super pretty and just suck you in. Oh, they're doing a great job of it, though. Alright, gotta recreate the original title screen in that. I respect it. I respect it. I respect it. Okay, so that was pretty. That was pretty. But let's actually take a look at the gameplay. So this is what the game's really going to be looked at. And credit to them, this is released by Summoners War or come to us themselves. So it's not like someone else took closed beta footage and put it out, and that's what we're taking a look at. This is them doing their gameplay trailer. So, alright, I already need to pause it real fast. You're going to notice a couple of things. There's a few more characters than we're used to having. So it looks like we're going to have straight up frontline and backlines with a total of 8 people in our party at a time. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. The only thing that makes me a little nervous. Wait for it. Wait for it. It's a card game. It's a card game. We're playing cards. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, because usually, you know, with gacha games, the unique things about these champions, they have several skills that make their kit good in certain situations. Essentially, that's the whole basis of having all these different characters, is each of their kits are different and unique and can fill different roles. When I just see champion cards and an energy bar that we're working off of to use those, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm getting a little bit nervous. I'm not a big fan of these gacha games that essentially you're not really choosing your skills. You're kind of just getting a random shuffle, be like, okay, these are the attacks that you can use. Like, what? Did we go back in time? Why do I have less control of my characters now? What is this? I don't understand it. I know some people are about it. Y'all do you. That's fine. When we took a look at, oh, I can't talk about that yet. Never mind. Oh no, some of it's publicly available. So Magic Legends, the ARPG that was recently in closed alpha that people aren't supposed to talk about, that is an ARPG that's also a deck builder. So all of your skills and kind of attacks from that are coming from your deck. That's interesting. That's a single character. You have a wide variety of skills. The card thing in that aspect makes total sense. Super enjoy it. Super enjoy it. Can't wait for that open beta to start later this month. But in my gacha games, where these monster kits are a huge part of it, seeing a system like this just makes your boy a little bit nervous. Just a little bit nervous. But as we go through and see, we're seeing a lot of things from the original game. So to a certain extent, we still have to be getting something close to what we had originally. I don't know if, you know, they still have, you know, their 3 or 4 different skills, and it's just one of those skills, you're waiting for those skills to pop up here, or because if we have 8 champions, you're going to, you know, only have a single card for those champions, and that champion just has 1 attack. That's kind of what I feel like I'm seeing when I watch this, and it worries me a little bit, but I'm hoping that just each of the monster skills that already exist are just their own individual cards. Having 8 champions on the field and then having 3 cards for each champion feels like that might get a little bit messy, so I don't know which direction that's actually going to go in. And, you know, we've got some concerns. But I'm definitely still going to 100% yam on this when it drops in April and see how it is. So, I'm hopeful. I have a few concerns, but overall pretty optimistic, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with a newer gacha game, because Summoners War has been around for a while, and they've done very interesting and innovative things, but overall it definitely still has a bit of a feel of playing an old game. So hopefully they breathe some new life into the IP, and we get a really unique, fun gacha game from them here. So I feel like that's pretty good. We touched on that pretty nicely, right? And sorry for the jank. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Chronicle is gonna have to offer. And let's go ahead real fast and kind of break down some of the stuff for you real fast before you start seeing it, so that it hopefully makes a little bit more sense. But essentially the way that a Summoners War MMORPG is going to work is you are going to have, from the reading I've done, 3 characters. And these characters sound more like loadouts because each of those 3 characters can have 3 summon champions that they're controlling, and then that's it. You only get 3 champions that you control per that character. When you go and do something, you're just selecting 1 character and you get to use those 3 champions. So in my mind, everything I've seen makes it sound like you just can have a couple of loadouts, and that, yeah, I mean, essentially it's, I don't know, it looks a little weird. So it almost sounds like it's a mix, like it could almost be the first Pokemon MMORPG, where you're going to be Pokemon battling with other people and just controlling your few units. So this is all going to go pretty quickly, and we're probably going to have to replay it a couple of times. And every time I try and pause it, none of the things I want to highlight are easily visible on the screen. So we can see a couple of different things running around in this section of the video. So we've got a player over here, we've got a player over here, and then we've got 1 or 2 players over here. I want to say that this is a 3-person group, and we've just got 1 man Mia, 1 man Mia, and 1 man Mia. So what this looks like is, if you just got to play the Summoners War characters you had in like an action RPG kind of setting, to where you're fighting the things yourselves instead of it being turn-based combat, it looks like, I don't know, this one is pretty interesting, but I also want to be as completely reserved about this as possible, because it's the one that we have the least amount of information on. Its development has been around for years at this point, and the fact that there's very little information on something that's been developed for years and years should raise some concerns that can hint to difficulty with direction, difficulty with actually implementing the things that they want to. It could be studio trouble. It could be a lot of things, but it typically is not a healthy or good sign for there to be so little information about something. Now, granted, this was slated to come out last year, and there's still that huge gap of information on it. Now, obviously, COVID happened, and that is very likely why we saw it pushed back into 2021 instead of its 2020 release like it was supposed to originally have. But at the end of the day, if this game comes out and you have a mix of an MMORPG and a gacha game, that's huge. That's absolutely huge, and that will be crazy fun. And the fact that you have active control and you are essentially playing as your champions, that's almost a dream come true for some of us people that have been playing Summoners War for a very long time. Being able to control and run around as some of our favorite champions is gonna be insane. So my hope is that this game comes out and it absolutely kills it, and we see an amazing mix of the MMORPG genre and the gacha genre. Like, that would be the nuttiest thing ever if they successfully pulled that off. Don't know if that's what we're gonna see. I really hope that it's what we see, but there's some concerns, you know what I mean? So I don't know. We might get one of the most amazing combinations of game genres that we've seen, or we might get a super clunky mess. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how the traditional Summoners War kind of gameplay gets translated into being an MMORPG. What you guys saw at fighting was essentially like what the raid boss is right now in Summoners War, and that's something that you already queue up and do with 2 other people. You all have your teams of 6 people, and you're trying to get that big old monster. So it's pretty easy to see how that gameplay works. But what about campaign levels? What about arena? There's a lot of other aspects of the game that, okay, if that's how this one specific things work, how is some of this other stuff that people might be expecting to see translate into it? So while I think it's really cool we're getting to see an awesome boss fight, I wish this also included some more basic stuff of, you know, maybe summoning a champion, maybe equipping stuff on a champion, things that would give us some better looks into what Chronicle is actually going to look like. But, you know, all in all, I'm super excited. I hope Com2Us kills it with these ones, and yeah. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to these ones too. And I almost forgot about the pause button that started this whole video out, and I already started looking at my other monitor so I could make sure to start lining up the button with where it needs to be. No, ain't got to do it. Ain't got to do it. We just press a button now. We fancy. We fancy. Alright guys, thank you so much for stopping by. That's pretty much going to wrap this one up. Forgot completely to ask you guys to be my John Connors. So, you know, be my John Connors. Thank you. Help me fight the algorithm. Show the machines you mean business and join the resistance. I should really come up with better taglines, but at this point we're just memeing the call to actions. But thank you guys so much for stopping by. I really appreciate your faces. You're gonna have to catch your boy in the next one because we hitting spacebar. Oh no, it didn't work because we had YouTube pulled up. Ha! Okay, so we still get troll exits. Bye.